Hello and welcome to the Trish Rock Inspires podcast, where we explore spirituality, intuition, and life so that you can learn a different and greater perspective on who you are, why you are here, and find more meaning and purpose in your life. Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. But now, sit back and enjoy this episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Trish Rock Inspires. And I have the amazing Kylie Welsh of She Enterprises here with me today. Yay, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Kylie is the CEO of the Feminine Affluence Codes and Wealth Energetics Mastermind and leader of the She Entrepreneur Collective, a community of over 20,000 women in business. Kylie has been a professional female entrepreneur for the past 14 years, creating a multi-six-figure business, running masterclasses and workshops in the area of branding, positioning, and profit generation for women. Kylie is also a requested speaker in the area of feminine leadership and why the time is now for women to do business differently. Kylie's life changed dramatically when she experienced adrenal burnout in her business. She knew there must be a new, better way for women in business to thrive personally, professionally, and financially. What started as a personal journey to embody the divine feminine led to something so much bigger. Kylie has uncovered how to create a vision-based female empire that would allow women to thrive personally, impact other women, and create the financial abundance that she is desiring. Mastering this has been the missing link in her entrepreneur journey and the many women she works with. Combining this with wealth energetics and powerful personal branding has been a game changer. Her own life, vitality, and abundance have skyrocketed. As an empowered solo mum and 14 years into her entrepreneurial journey, Kylie is now living her dreams with a highly profitable impact business that continues to transform women's lives. Kylie's vision is to change female entrepreneurship so more embodied female leaders are called forward to inspire and empower other women. Welcome. Such an honor to have you here. Yay.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
It's such a powerful bio. Just even reading that, it's like, wow, it's like, this is amazing what's happened here. And I know a little bit of your story as well. So for the people listening, Kylie, you've been in the coaching space for quite some time and really quite successful at it. But you were doing things in a way that really wasn't nurturing, wasn't feminine energy, and wasn't helping you hold the space for people because you ended up having burnout. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. It's I kind of see myself having two main evolutions in my business. So for anyone who's listening, I ran my business for the first few years, working 60 hours a week and earning less than $40,000 a year. So I was very much into not understanding my value, trying to please everybody, feeling very uncomfortable charging my worth, not really knowing my worth, to be honest. And then I got a male mentor who was amazing at the time, and my business moved to kind of six figures. I was speaking and touring and doing all that sort of thing. But it was very much built on masculine energy. I mean, I was literally modeling what he was doing, and it was very much about push the whole time, and this kind of rinse and repeat. And like I was kind of almost a little bit like a performer. That's how it felt, And so, yeah, within 12 months, I had all this business success, but then I had a massive adrenal crash. So it's really interesting for me because when you build, so for many women that are in their too much in their masculine energy, what happens is we often have this loop of unworthiness running. So when I was building my business, I wasn't building it from my feminine empowered space. I was building it from this masculine overthinking. I need to do more. I need to kind of be more all the time. And I think that's what many women do, and why we get so overwhelmed and exhausted in our businesses. And that was certainly my experience. So yes, I just kept pushing myself until the brink where, I totally kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
And that's a really important thing to understand, is that this feminine energy is really something that is very innate and natural within women. But because we work in a very masculinized culture in the business community, that often that is downplayed and not seen as valuable. And women suffer in their own business because of that. Yes, we might get the success, but it's at a cost always, either a cost of time with your family, or just, you feeling overwhelmed in your business, and all of those sorts of things that we don't want. So I went, as I said, or as you said, sorry, on a kind of a discovery, kind of thinking, how can women sort of draw forward what they desire into their life without it being that push masculinized energy.
Yeah.
And it took quite a few years for me to sort of really master it in my own life. But the other area that was a big one, something that I was still having lots of challenges with because of my own unresolved wounding. I had an emotionally kind of abusive upbringing, and I didn't realize how much that was affecting my capacity to be able to make money. So I would make money and lose money, make money and lose money. So there wasn't that sense of safety in my childhood that I really, really craved. And that was then reflected in my adult life, in my capacity to make money. And so that really led me on another kind of very profound experience on learning about my relationship with money, but more importantly, understanding that even though I had spent all of this money and done all of these courses on my conscious mind, that 95% of what I was doing in my business was really being run from a very wounded little girl who didn't feel she was worthy, didn't feel like she got things easily like other people, didn't feel like she was as valuable as other people. Now, obviously, as a woman, I'm not thinking that. I know that I'm worthy and all of those things on a conscious level, but this was really hidden. And this was so important because most of what we do in our business, in fact, 95% of what we do in our business is on autopilot from our subconscious. And when I really understood that, it allowed me to start really transforming the course of, trajectory of my life. And over a kind of a 5-year period, I really kind of dived into all of this area, and now kind of help my clients obviously with it as well now. But I have gone on now to create a multi-6-figure business that is transforming women's lives, and it is in this ease and flow. It is based on my magnetism and attraction. Of course, that means I'm working in the business. It's not like just all kind of, doing meditations and all that sort of stuff. It's a very profound process of healing these wounds. And what that means energetically for women is that every time we've suppressed our emotions, every time we've formed a very black and white view of ourselves based on our needs not getting met as a child, we create this emotional block in our field. And that's what clients can, really sense about us. So even though you can be doing all the things and saying all the right things, people may not be, signing up for you, may not be kind of moving forward because there's something in your energy that they're feeling isn't quite right. And that's not to say you're being inauthentic, not at all. But when these wounds are present and they're not resolved, then they show up energetically. And so you can be doing all of the right things, but you're not getting the traction that somebody that doesn't have those wounds, or somebody who's worked on those wounds, is isn't experiencing. So I always say to my clients that business transformation really is an inside job as well as an outside job. And if you're not prepared to kind of look at yourself and take responsibility for the trajectory of your own life and wanting to move towards financial sovereignty and financial independence and success in your business, then you've really got to be willing to look at yourself first and look at the areas where perhaps you are seeing the same kind of patterns. And it's very easy to see because you can see the areas in your life where you're doing well and you have ease and flow. They're the areas where you have programming that supports success. And the areas where it's hard work, you've been working on it for years, you take one step forward and then 3 steps back. That means that you have a program that fundamentally doesn't create success for you in that area. And of course, you can override those. You can create new neural pathways, but it's really a great way for you to just to be able to take stock in your own life and in your own business. As women, we often have, this fear of being seen, which holds us back. And many of us, childhood where we were seen, and that, ended up being a negative experience for us. So we just don't really fully understand how we can still be carrying that so importantly in our business to our own detriment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And when what you've said is just so it's so correct, because there are so many people out there, including myself and including yourself at one point, where you try to overcome that by working harder. You try to overcome well, this isn't working. Why isn't it not working? I need to work harder to get more clients. I need to work harder to make more money. And that's when, you end up with the burnout, or the other way, you just start feeling like a failure and just really give up on yourself because you've done all the things. But when you can kind of see that there is those underlying, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, who am I to be doing that, patterns that are going on, and actually start to clear them, it's pretty magical what happens. And it's not about working harder. It's like all of a sudden it's like a door opens, and what you've wanted just kind of walks in, and you're like, oh, I didn't have to, work overly hard for that. That's interesting. So yeah, it's just incredible, I think. And that's a societal thing as well, over so many generations, that we're not using that feminine energy of intuition, of flow, of caring about ourselves and others, of self-worth. It is all about that push, work harder, do more, be more. And if it's not working for you, then you're not good enough. That's the end of the story. And I think it's a beautiful time in the evolution of all of us to be stepping more into this feminine energy. And I've seen the work that you do. I'm in your beautiful mastermind, and the programs that you've created are really, really very powerful for clearing a lot of that up, without feeling like, well, how I feel about it anyway, without feeling like you're even doing hard work to do that. Right? Because, I've done 15 years or more of personal development. I have to say, some of it felt like very hard work. And then you do the hard work and it still doesn't show up in the business. And so physically you work even harder, and it's just this big cycle of stuff. And you can really feel like a failure. And I know a lot of people have given up on themselves because of it. So the work that you've created, this neural programming, neural pathway programming. It's really very powerful. And do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that works?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. One of the things I just wanted to mention, Trish, is that what we often see is when we create success, not in our own feminine power, and this is what I did. You will see women that create success, and we can often look at them and go, "Wow, that was amazing what they did." But you will find it doesn't last, and that's what happened to me, and I see that happen with many
Right.
women because they haven't done this kind of level of healing. So they're doing it in that kind of masculine energy, which of course the masculine, it's very important and something that really it's about that kind of balance. But many of us, unfortunately, have been trained. We've got to kind of lead with the masculine, and that just doesn't work. And so what was so interesting to me was this journey into learning about my subconscious programming and really going back into these various kind of levels in my life and looking at the areas where my needs weren't met in the way that I needed them to be, but more importantly, how that then was reflected in my business. So I had a big core fracture around trust and trust with the masculine in particular. And so that had a really big impact, not only in my personal life, but also in my ability to be able to create financial safety. So if you don't trust in the world, if you don't trust in God, the universe, whatever your beliefs, then you cannot feel safe in the world. And so what I was doing was creating success, but then it was always taken away from me. And so that was one that was a really profound one for me. And you have to think about it as you get older as well. These neural pathways that I had about not being safe, for example, that's just one of them. There were many. That neural pathway has been formed for many, many years. And so I would have these big sessions with healers and therapists and all that. I've been in healing therapy really my whole life. And I would have this profound aha and go, oh my gosh, I really understand that. But it never created lasting change. And that was really a key difference for me, was really realizing that in order to create lasting change, we have to show the subconscious shifting from kind of low worth behaviors into high value behaviors, where you start to see yourself, or your subconscious starts to see yourself thinking and feeling and acting differently in the world. And so for me, first of all, I just noticed that the negative self-talk really, really died down. And then I started to just see, as you've mentioned and experienced, just things start to shift in your reality, because all of a sudden you're really forming new neural pathways. So the repetition and the emotional intensity is really important, so that we can create this whole worthy little girl who didn't get what she needed, but we can create that in our own subconscious, which therefore triggers everything else, because 95% of what we're doing is from our subconscious. So if all of a sudden we're shifting into high self-worth, then that creates a ripple effect in our business. And I can remember being on a beach one day and seeing this father, just playing so beautifully with this girl and throwing her up in the air and really being present and spending time with her. And I just had that feeling of, oh, I know what that feels like. And I hadn't had that same experience, but that was when I realized, oh my goodness, this programming is really working, because I am becoming the person that had that experience every day in my childhood. And so my expectation of myself my whole life started to shift, because I was no longer coming from this kind of broken perspective of which I obviously didn't realize at the time. This is what's so frustrating. You spend so much money and work on your conscious mind, but when you've still got these things running around, I don't get what other people have. Life is harder for me. I'm not worthy of that, those type of things, which many of us do, not only from our family of origin, but also just in the culture, and we're so conditioned in our society as well as women to carry a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really powerful work, and you have to change the cause to get a different effect, and that's really changing the cause. And it's not I mean, it's not as if we can go back and make things different, because whatever happened happened, but we can change the way we think about it. And then in your process, we get what we needed at the time. We get what we needed, so that we then have a different opinion about ourselves and about what we deserve. And it's really very powerful. And I was running those patterns for a long time as well, always working really hard, but was really running on that story of rejection, and I have to work really hard so I don't get rejected. But our stories are always being proven, so of course I was going to get rejected all the time, no matter how hard I worked, right? And so our stories, as you say, they're always being proven, and you have to go back and change it from the core. So that programming, that reprogramming, is really powerful. And the way
Yeah,
that
that's right. And I feel like
I was just going to say, the
yes,
way
and
that you do it is really powerful as well. It's different than normal hypnosis sessions that I've had before. So it's really very pointed to an exact thing, and it's very precise, and it's very it's easy. I want to say it
yes,
has ease. It's not easy. It's simple and it has ease.
yes, that's right. That's right. And that's what we want. And
Yes.
I think as a woman, and part of the work that we do as well is around this kind of embodiment and wealth energetics and stuff. So as you start to clear these old stories, old wounds, all of those sorts of things, and start to embody more your feminine energy, and your innate magnetism and attraction starts to be ignited. And so that's where you start to see the kind of ripple effect as well. Whereas we can try and do a lot of that work and manifesting work and all that sort of stuff, but when we've got all this woundedness running and carrying it in our energy, it just doesn't work. But once you start to clear that, once you start to shift out of that, not only do you feel amazing, but you get to see it, and you just feel more powerful, more in control, and
Exactly.
more
It's like
trusting.
reading the same book over and over again and expecting a different ending. But unless the story changes, the ending will always be the same. So you're helping the story change a bit. And I really love that it ties in with business. And that's who you help. Female entrepreneurs really help with their business, and so you're tying it in with that. And the results then are seen in the business, whether it's more money flowing in, more clients, different clients, more aligned clients, more aligned programs or products or services that people are creating, because that is also something, I think, that it's ingrained to us as well, that this is what we have to do. And even if it's not aligned with us, we still have to do it. But if we're not aligned with the work we create, then it's not going to align with anyone else either. So
Oh,
I
no.
love that what you do is specifically kind of targeted to that as well. So for the women entrepreneurs, the female entrepreneurs that are watching, it's where is it in your business that you're feeling stuck, and then it's a specific kind of, yes, let's work on that, rather than a big blanket kind of, let's just work on that and it'll solve everything. But it doesn't. You have to work on the specifics.
Yes, exactly. And, if you are someone that's invested a lot in themselves and spent money and not got the result you wanted, then that's something to look at, because that was my experience for a long time too, and I know Trisha's had that experience as well. And looking at this area, and then really seeing the ripple effect in your business can start to make some big shifts. And for me, my mission is really to help female entrepreneurs who specifically are here to really impact other women, because I feel like each business that I create or help create success, it's not me doing the work, it's you doing the work. But when we create that success, then that has a ripple effect on all women's lives. And so it leads me back to this more women being financially sovereign. And I think your business is an amazing place it's a great wealth vehicle for many women to be able to create money. And so financial sovereignty is really important for me, because I know that when women aren't financially sovereign, that has a ripple effect. Then, they stay in bad relationships, all of those sorts of things. They don't step into their joy in their business and those sorts of things. So financial sovereignty is a really big area. And in order to have that impact, you need to be successful, and you need to have sorted your stuff out, and you need to be able to lead and inspire women from a very authentic place of wholeness, rather than what we often see is women in leadership, which are they can be operating still from their wounds, and that's where we get, the kind of dark feminine and not great experiences from women being in leadership.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm in your beautiful feminine affluence codes mastermind, and I'd really encourage people listening to have a look at that and just hop on a call with Kylie about it. I've got all the information in the notes, because I've done a lot of work on myself, and it was certainly helping energetically, physically, mentally, but there was still a lot of specific things in my business that was so frustrating. And so to hop into this mastermind group with you, it's not only the work that you're doing energetically to clear things and all the rest of it, but it's also the beautiful group atmosphere and the group support that I have found really valuable, as well, because we're all sort of supporting each other, but for me it's been good because I can see that I'm not the only one. And that sometimes we feel like an island, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so I found it really powerful. And so it's not that the other work that I've done and the energetics I do and the other mentors and coaches I've had haven't worked. They have, but there were specific things in my business that needed change. And I just really feel it's such a powerful program for that, because you just tie it all in so beautifully. So yeah, so for people listening who are in business and just can't figure out why something's not moving forward, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, you've been doing that mastermind for quite a while now too. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. There's been various evolutions of it. But yeah, the feminine affluence code's probably the last 2 years focusing. So again, that was something that I wasn't really comfortable with talking about, or, in the money area and all of that. I was, a very traditional business coach for a long time, but as my own clearing happened, as more of my authenticity came out, I moved much more into this kind of spiritual sort of area, because that's really the work that lights me up more than anything. So
Yeah. And you always gather an amazing group of people together, always, even at your monthly events as well, your networking events. They're amazing. I'd highly recommend them. Networking became really hard for me, and very, not hard because it's hard, but it became very heavy. It's probably a better word. Networking events became very heavy for me, and I think your networking event it brings a lightness to meeting people, and it brings lightness to networking with other like-minded business women, and it's been a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you so much. I love hearing that, because I was the same. I didn't love networking events in the past, even though I'd run them in the past, but I just really wanted to create something that was really about deeper connection with other women, because I feel like many of us who work in the online space, that there's a level back away from that emotional connection in the online space. So I feel like in-person connection, there is something quite quite profound in that. And so I wanted to create something that was going to be more meaningful, but also expansive as well. So you're not just kind of going to events and feeling like you've got to sell yourself, but you're going there, you're having deep connections, and you're also learning something really, hopefully insightful that you can take to your business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I highly recommend them.
Mm.
So for people who are listening today, and the ladies in business who or they might not even be in business yet, maybe they're thinking about starting a business, but they're feeling a little bit perhaps lost or stuck or frustrated, what would be something you could say to them to perhaps inspire them to take the next step, and or perhaps something they could do to start trusting in themselves a little bit more?
Yeah. I think one of the things that was a real big aha for me was realizing that everything, as a woman, everything that you need to be successful is within you. And so this is something that is very profound when you start to understand that. But because of all the conditioning and the wounding and things like that, that actually takes us away from who we are authentically. And as you start to clear that, your authenticity comes through. And that was very powerful for me to realize. It doesn't mean you don't have mentors and coaches and things like that, but it's not about you becoming a different person. This is actually about who you really are and stepping back into your authenticity. And I think that's a very powerful message for any woman who's listening here today.
I think so. I love that. Definitely all about authenticity. Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your energy with us today. And I know that everybody would have got some insights from that. And every link that you need to know is in the description for you to be able to connect with Kylie. And you do offer a 20-minute call for people.
Yeah, that's right. A business boost where we can connect and talk about some ideas for your business. And yeah, and you can ask me any questions or anything like that as well.
Perfect. I have the link for that there as well. Well, thank you so much, Kylie. I really appreciate it. And as always, it's been lovely talking with you.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you for the next episode of True Rock and Fires. Bye for now.